Okwekalakaasa e Bungereza Banayuganda abawangalira mu ggwanga lya Bungereza nga bali wamu ne bankwano gyabwe abazungu Balumbye Ekitebe wasibuka okuwola General Kaguta Museveni ensimbi ne batandika okwekalakaasa nga bagamba nti stop funding Museveni, stop funding dictator Museveni, stop funding Ugandan government kubanga mwe mulemezaako ba dictator ne mubonyabonya ensi yaffe nti Uganda tuli mu kubonaabona twava ewaffe tuli eno ku mawanga tubona abonene okumawanga olwammwe okuba nti muwajene Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ensimbi olwammwe kuba mukola ddiiru naye ne mutoboola eggwanga lyaffe n'atta abantu baffe n'awamba abantu baffe n'atulugunya abantu baffe n'olwekyo tukooye okuba nti no muwajene Yoweri Kaguta Museveni bakulembeze Bungereza basobeddwa eka ne mu kibira olw'Abannayuganda okuba nti bataamye batabuse ate nga bazze mu bungi ddala leero ne beeyiwa ku makubo ag'enjawulo ne beeyiwa ku bifo ebyenjawulo ebyenkizo ebisibukako okuwola General Kaguta Museveni ensimbi nga beekalakaasa bagamba kirina okukoma kubanga mmwe musibe Bannayuganda mbumbula mmwe musibe Bannayuganda mu kubonaabona olw'ensimbi ez'emitirivu ze muwa General Kaguta Museveni. Kale nsaba mukkirize tugende Bungereza tulabe ate okwekalakaasa nga bwe kutambula.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, today we are here not because we intended to be, but the policies done from these wonderful buildings and many across the globe. That's why we are here. My name is Everett Kamkama. I'm here today because our Foreign Secretary is well paid to make sure violence is the order of the day in Uganda. From my team here, one has said the trainings of the army or the Uganda forces is done here in England and in US. It's not by coincidence. It's a strategic way to make sure violence is the order of the day. For the rich, make sure they have a lot. And these people who are trained to rape, kill, do all sorts of violence. They are all script so that you cannot live in these countries. How did it start? Someone may ask. Started by our government selling soul to the Western countries. Good buildings like this one. They came in here. They got their souls left behind. They were trapped in them. And I think up to now their minds are trapped in these buildings. And that's why the order of the day, keep silent. They don't talk. We've tried as a group, as Ugandans, to ask questions in Parliament. They will come up with anything answer, silly as it may. It's the answer they have given you. So long as their pockets are filled with money, they can buy anything. The elections in Uganda are about to bloody daylight. If you can't be bought, they will kill you. They make sure if you are lady, you are raped. And no one is bothered. Even the BBC will not report that. They will say that is fine. We are trying to finish these people off. They are spoiling the route. We are here saying we are fed up of this route. One way you instigate this route is by getting the governments in these countries where we come from to reduce pensions to reduce the salaries and the benefits, wherever you see it. So long as you hear that noise, reduce pension, reduce benefits, salaries, reduce employment rights. I think people from the trade unions can tell you, it's not easy to negotiate with these people in these super offices. But whenever you hear that song, just know it's a matter of days. We are getting taken up. They reduce job stability. Wow, that's a good song. They sing these songs, you may think they are wonderful. My darling, you are finished. They will come up with so many schemes to make sure that much as they sing, they will pay you peanuts. They will find some of those who can't take it and they say, please, get in this box. They buy you off. If you can't be bought, you'll be boxed to someone. Some of our members in the society have lost their names. They have lost their properties. Some, like Bobby Wine, the other day, was bundled off the plane to be hidden. And they made sure he had to be barricaded in his house. That's the price we pay for saying these are not nice songs. Now, when they saw it, David, who could not listen to this type of songs, he has gone. What did they do? They came to meet Museveni, and they told him, please, Museveni, we need your currency to be equal to the dollar. And he said, okay, how much can you raise? I will dance. And the tune was beautiful. He said, wow, can this community remain docile? He said, yes, I will make it docile. And he has really made Ugandans docile. And some of us who couldn't be reasonable to that nonsense, that's why we are here in London. Please, Foreign Secretary, wake up today. We are fed up of being docile. The president in Uganda, you are dealing with us. He's in a power with no soul. You can't stand him. The next thing you did, your boys, the bully boys, and I'm not saying you, you have bully boys who facilitate your coming to that office. They go to Museveni and they tell him, next, privatization. Wherever you hear that song, privatization. No, yet now the python is getting you gripped properly. What do you do? And for us Ugandans, they made sure Museveni can keep us docile. Those who can raise their heads, kill them. Violence becomes the order of the day. All our national assets, they have gone. Foreign Secretary, this is not a pleasing situation we are in. The jobs finished, no pension, nothing. Make sure there is no one who is paid properly. There is no one who can produce what was left. Sell the national assets, make the politics pay. That's why Uganda is having 600 members of parliament. What do? Sit there on the benches, get paid, don't make noise. It's one way of getting the cream to open the markets. And what do? Make people pay. Now the pinch, the water company, the water in Uganda is sold. Soon it will be increasing. Remember, there is no job which pays There is no job security. There's nothing. But what is increasing? Electricity, utility is increasing. The people, they want to make sure every blood in those Ugandans is squeezed out and feel the lucky little few who are made in WTO. What do they do when the presidents visit there or the ministers? They sign a memorandum. That memorandum is to finish these beasts in the South world who deserve no life. This mature argument is the reason you see people here in London who look alien to the people who were born or raised here in London. That's why, Foreign Secretary, you are sitting in that office. You are there because someone, sometime in 1974, designed a project to make sure these countries are crippled. When they get crippled, we have to move out. The unreasonable people. Those who are reasonable, they remain. This is not a nice place to be. But I'm here to inform you. We know we're not coming here for any good answer. But it's a step forward to take on the streets. Take the office, streets are ours, until we put back the soul in those offices. That's when we rest. But unless we do that, there is no way we're gonna sit on these streets when you are enjoying those nicely decorated offices. Ugandans, people wherever you are around the world, the songs you are hearing from these officers: reduce pension, reduce salary, privatization. These are mass murders being fronted in those kind, well-crafted words. They sound even brilliant, but these are terrorism which is traded in broad daylight. I'm here to inform Ugandans, don't despair. We can't take the power in our hands. Right from today, any Ugandan who is listening, don't pay for electricity in that country. Don't pay for water, drink the rainwater. Go on how to call it? Go on those pumps, wells, or dams, whatever. But don't pay for water anymore. That's one way of killing us. Don't pay for electricity. If you can avoid the transport, stay until 7 is out. Stay in your house. Wash the national flag of the evil deeds that government has done. Please, Ugandans, we still have a chance when you're still alive. You can put this one to stop. Don't buy anything manufactured, because the bully boys are the one manufacturing. We need to take our power back by stopping eating these drinks. The beers from Nairobi ones, stop taking them. I think in 2 or 3 months, these people in office with no souls, they will be out. Thank you very much. Let us continue the fight. People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
Yeah.
Salongo. Salongo Bakis.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
Father, after this critical, they messed up without them, but we are here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are standing outside the foreign office.
Yeah.
And we are calling on the foreign secretary, clearly a man who comes from Africa like all of us, but he has decided to put his head, to bury his head under the sand because of the little money the brutal dictator gives them, and in turn they are given business contracts in Uganda, they are given business contracts in Congo, and they decide to leave Uganda and Ugandans under the brutal dictator Museveni, a brutal dictator who has been in power for 38 years, while the UK is supporting, financing, and promoting this evil man.
Kuba.
We are calling on the Foreign Secretary to stand with the 45 suffering million Ugandans in stopping the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda from torturing Ugandans, from raping Ugandans, from murdering Ugandans.
Yeah.
We are calling on the Foreign Secretary to stop all the financial support and assistance. The millions and millions of money going to Uganda is going to rape us, is going to kill us, is going to torture us. We are calling on Clevery to stand with us in removing the brutal dictator, exposing the human rights violation in Uganda under Museveni. Museveni is a man of yesterday. Museveni cannot be the future of Uganda and Ugandans. We are calling on the Foreign Secretary to stop the importing of militias from Uganda to the UK to be trained. And when they go back to Uganda, they are raping, they are murdering, they are torturing Ugandans. And the UK is involved. The UK is conniving. The UK is supporting the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. In Uganda, we are 45 million Ugandans, but we have only 20 working ambulances out of the 5 million Ugandans. Only St. Thomas Hospital, they have more than 40 ambulances lying down there. But the whole country, Uganda, a nation of 45 million Ugandans, we have 20 working ambulances. And that's what you call democracy. And this is a man you are supporting. Slavery, even your ancestor country, Sierra Leone, which has just come out of the war 20 years back, is better than Uganda. You know why? Better leadership. They've changed presidents. Since the war ended in Sierra Leone, they've had 6 presidents. In Uganda, for the last 38 years, we live under the same brutal dictator Museveni. And the UK is still supporting the brutal dictator. This is hypocrisy. This is double standard. You cannot be talking about democracy while you are supporting the brutal dictator Museveni. You cannot talk about human rights while you support Museveni, who is castrating men, who is raping women and men in Uganda, who is torturing Ugandans on a daily basis. People are being kidnapped in Uganda, and the Foreign Secretary, because of their political and financial interest in Uganda, they all go silent. We know right now, the former Prime Minister of this country, Tony Blair, they've got mining companies in the DRC Congo.
Yes!
And this is between Museveni and Tony Blair. We know that you want Uganda to be a mess. We know that you want Africa to be a mess, because when there is a mess, that is when the West enjoys. That is when you get us on the streets of London, cleaning the streets in London. That's when you get foreigners coming here, because you're exploiting our African countries. And when we come to exposing, you don't want us to say that.
Kubawo
How
nnyo.
can you support a brutal dictator who
Kubawo
has been
nnyo.
in power for 38 years? While in the UK, we've changed 12 prime ministers. But in Uganda, we still rely on the same brutal dictator. And the officials from the Foreign Office, they think that is normal. We know it's your interest. That's why you're supporting the brutal dictator. We know you have businesses in Uganda. We know you are in Eastern Congo. That is why your brothers are robbing and looting our resources. We know the reason why you are silent. We can see and we support the people of Ukraine. When Russia invaded Ukraine, UK was the first to support Ukraine. But Museveni of Uganda invaded Congo. It's now 9 years. He has never been condemned. For a simple reason.
Kubawo nnyo.
The mineral resources from Eastern Congo all come to the UK.
Kubawo
All
nnyo.
the businessmen in Congo, they're all from the UK.
Kubawo nnyo.
No wonder why the UK is quiet. And that is democracy. We call it hypocrisy. We call it double standard. You condemn Hamas of going to Israel and killing the innocent people, which is right. But at the same time,
Condemn
Israel
Museveni.
is also bombing the innocent people of Gaza.
Yes.
Where do you stand among the two people? These are brothers and sisters. We should not be supporting the war, whether in Israel or in the Palestine. We should be calling for peaceful means.
Kubawo nnyo.
But when it comes to third world countries, that is where you are selling your arms. That's where you are selling your expired tear gas. That is where you are selling your old military trucks. In Uganda, we don't have ambulances, as I've said before, but we have over 15,000 military patrol cars.
Yes.
But we don't have any working hospital in Uganda. We don't have no schools in Uganda.
Kubawo nnyo.
But we've got military barracks in Uganda.
Kubawo
All
nnyo.
being funded and financed by the UK. We don't have no schools in Uganda. But we've got over 50 massive prisons. Ugandans, we are not criminals. Why the brutal dictator is building prisons? We've got over. But you can allow the brutal dictator Museveni and his family to come and enjoy the treatment at St. Thomas Hospital. If he's a man who thinks about his country, Museveni is 13 billion rich, the richest man in Africa.
Yes.
But in Uganda, we don't have hospitals.
Yes.
In Uganda, we don't have no roads. But he's coming to the UK to beg for 200 million. Is there sense?
No.
The man who is 13 billion US dollar rich coming to the UK to beg for 200 million to build the schools. And that money, there is no accountability with that money. The money is going to build death torture chambers where men and women are being raped.
Yes.
Where men are being killed.
Yes.
Where women are being murdered.
Yes.
And the UK is stopping silence.
Kubawo nnyo.
The UK, that is democracy.
Yes.
Africans have got no life.
No.
Africans can't live under democracy.
No.
We have to live under the brutal dictator.
Yes.
And you are complaining why immigrants come to the UK.
Yes.
Because we are supporting the brutal dictators around the world.
Yes.
So we have to come here.
Yes.
Because UK, you are the main cause of the dictators around the world.
Yes.
You supported Saddam.
Yes.
When he said no to you,
Yeah.
then you change. Now, we want
Our president.
freedom. We want democracy.
Yes.
We want change in Uganda.
Yes.
And the only man to bring change in Uganda
Wow. Wow.
Bobby Wine. But
Yay.
he was denied
Yes.
to the UK for the last 10 years.
Yes.
But the brutal dictator Museveni,
Yes.
he comes to the UK on daily
Yeah.
basis. The official ministers who
Yes.
pass the draconian law
Yes.
against the LGBT community.
Wow,
They
wow.
are free to come to the UK at their time of choosing.
Thank you.
Is that not a double standard?
Double standards.
Mr. Clement, why do you discriminate that
Yes.
Bobi Wine can't come to the UK?
Yes.
A man who is fighting for democracy in Uganda.
Yes.
A man who is a human rights defender in Uganda.
Yes.
But you let the brutal dictator and his thugs come to the UK.
Wow.
They even come for medical tourism.
Yes.
Some of them, as we speak,
Yes.
they St. Thomas, all
Yes.
your taxi money,
Yes.
my taxi money.
Yet they can't build hospitals.
This is a man who has been in power for 38 years.
Wow.
If he knows that people go sick, why he can't build a decent hospital in Uganda?
Yes.
Why he has to fly all his families to the UK
Yes.
for medical treatment?
Yes.
We are calling on the Foreign Secretary
Yes.
to allow our President, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Bobi Wine,
Yes.
to come to the UK.
Yes.
Because he has committed no crime.
Yes.
We know the UK government supports the brutal dictator Museveni.
Kubaonya
And that's
wo.
the reason why they cannot allow the opposition leader to come to the UK. We
Yes.
want the opposition leader from Uganda, Bobi Wine, to
Yes.
come to the UK.
Yes.
At his time of choosing.
Yes.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
Is that not double standard?
It
When
is.
you support a brutal dictator,
Yes.
the man who has been in power for 38 years,
Yes.
that cannot be democracy.
Yes.
Down at 10 Downing Street,
Yes.
we have 11 prime minister.
Yes.
They come and go in a peaceful manner.
Yes.
But in Uganda,
Yes.
we are still living under this brutal dictator.
Yes.
And the UK supporting, financing, and promoting this brutal dictator Museveni. People power. Our power.
Hello, Ugandans. Can you believe the Uganda Parliament has 570 MPs? A place so advanced in UK has barely half that number, and that's Uganda. We have 570 MPs. How serious is this? People power. Our power. Now, Uganda, UK has barely 20 ministers. Uganda has 86 ministers, all related to the dictator. He employs them. It's a source of employment. A government that doesn't bring in any money, how can it have 86 ministers? Some of them are just sitting in wherever they're sitting and enjoying the money. This is a government funded by UK. We have more ministers than the funding partner. Now, the same dictator, when it comes to when he has a grudge with UK, he calls them colonialists, imperialists. When he needs money, they are development partners. Mark my words. I'll say this again. When he needs money, you are development partners. When you've upset him and asked for accountability with human rights abuse, he calls you Zionists, imperialists, colonialists. You've not learned a lesson. This same dictator keeps changing faces like a chameleon. One day you oil him with money, the money goes to military hardware. In Uganda, for every 3 months, we pass out 20,000 soldiers. In Uganda, the doctors who pass out are barely 1,500, but he doesn't have the money to pay for these doctors. But he still has the money to pay for the military. And the hardware you provide, the training of the army, UK provides. The everything that we torture and kill Ugandans, UK provides. We ask you clearly, stop funding him, stop arming him, stop training soldiers. If you could train nurses, doctors, I think that would be a fair deal. But you train the military in Sandhurst to come back and torture us. Now, fast forward. Have you ever been in hospital and there is no water? That is Uganda, because the National Water and Sewage Corporation, the board that supplies water to the hospital, can't pay, and the Uganda government can't pay the bills. Yet, the parliament of 570 MPs get their wages dead on time. Now, what is all this mess about? UK, you bring this about. Tighten the money. Don't give us funds, we fight the dictator out of power. Coming away from there, have you ever been to a hospital where the nurse can't even put, and the doctor can't put on gowns or have the necessary tools? That is Uganda. The doctors barely have gowns, they barely have any kits or garments, but the hospitals have to run. And you can't believe what a mortuary looks like in Uganda. It's worse than a pigsty in UK. And that is Uganda. And you still keep money, you provide money for health, primary health care, and so on. You don't ask for accountability. This is a country which is run down. There's no functioning institution. The parliament is a talking shop. And be warned, in Uganda we have had 3 coups during the 40 years. The first coup was he changed the term limit to rule forever. That was the first coup. The second coup, he changed the age limit. Nobody said anything. But fast forward, in West Africa, people dressed in military uniform changed the leadership because somebody was trying to extend his stay in power. You called it a coup. What is worse? Somebody in suits changing the constitution twice, and nobody in UK, people who are supposed to be promoting democracy, never mentioned anything.
Why?
The third coup was he's gonna rule forever. And all these coups, nobody has said anything to Museveni except to say go on and on and on and on. Now, when a dictator like Putin tries to change the constitution, everybody is up. Is reported on BBC. Yet in Uganda, when he changed the age limit in the constitution, changed the term limit, nothing was mentioned. The sad thing about it, they talk about national parks. The elephant has given birth. The hippo buffalo population has increased. Is that the news that you'll be reporting? We want you to report facts on the ground. Now, with the heavy parliament in Uganda, heavy cabinet in Uganda, you don't ask questions. Uganda is 88 trillion in debt. You can never ask this. When he came in power, there wasn't that debt. But now he's failing to service the debt in Uganda. And yet UK still promotes him, never mentions a word. BBC is not for viewers in Uganda because it has never reported anything evil. 2 days ago, there were tourists in Uganda who were killed. Then we come on the news. But 15 days ago, our president, Bobi Wine, was smuggled off the plane, bundled into a car, and taken. BBC would not have reported this if it wasn't for Al Jazeera, CNN, and the other newscasts. Later on in the evening, they reported, was this a rape? They were raped to mention it. Another thing, why does UK become a talking shop? You never say anything bad about Museveni, yet you know how much evil he's caused. He's under ICC. It took us everything to get Museveni in the ICC. UK didn't come out to support our case, yet you knew what gross human rights abuse was going on in Uganda. Museveni has abused us right, center, and left. He's tortured, killed, maimed, burnt houses, grabbed land, and made poor people very poor. Andrew Mitchell, or whatever, Andrew, What are you doing? You've been reduced into a spectator. Why are you the African minister, whatever you call yourself, when you can't even know what's happening in Uganda? I want to bring to your attention, we don't want the funding. We want you to stop funding Museveni. You buy the boots that kill our people. You buy the guns that kill our people. You buy the weapons. You buy the grenade. You buy the tear gas. And that kills Ugandans. And while you watch, on your watch, when there's regime change, you will come out coughing and saying, oh, he was bad. Why don't you say it now? Say it now, because we are going to take the dictator and we are going to take him down. I mean what I say. We are going to take the dictator down. People power, our power. Thank you for listening.
People power, our power. As my colleague has just mentioned, the double standard of our people here, it will never stop until we stand up and move the brutal dictator. What we are asking the Foreign Secretary is to condemn and stop the financing, the promoting, and the political support they still give to this brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. That's why we are standing here. We want equal justice. We want a country with rule of law. We want a country where human rights is respected. Not to be respected in Europe and the UK. And when it comes to human rights abuses in Uganda, for the UK, that is none of their business. But when things go wrong in Ukraine, the UK stood with the Ukrainians as we do. When things happen in Europe, the UK is always the first to condemn and to act. Why the UK is silent about Uganda is because of their interest in Uganda. Which are those interests? The mineral resources of Uganda is at stake here. As long as the UK is shipping the mineral resources from Uganda, they will never condemn Uganda. The brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda, has shipped money to the UK, but the UK has never condemned that. The brutal dictator owns mansions in the UK. We can see Putin of Russia and his henchmen. They seize all their properties in the UK and they close their accounts in the banks in the UK. But for the Ugandan dictator and his henchmen, they are busy buying businesses in the UK with the knowledge of the UK. They are being supported by Lord Puppet. He is the transaction man. All the dirty money from Uganda comes through Lord Puppet to the UK. Lord Puppet and Bishop Sentamu, these are the middlemen with the dirty money laundering from Uganda to the UK. The money you give to Uganda is cycled back to the UK through these two gentlemen I'm mentioning, Lord Puppet,
yes,
and Bishop Sentamu.
Wow.
They are all in the House of Lords.
Yes.
These are the people who are in charge of the money laundering from Uganda to the UK. And these are the people who are protecting the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. And we know the Foreign Secretary, he has backed the brutal dictator who has been in power for 38 years. They are still financing his brutality in Uganda. They are still financing the raping of men and women in Uganda. They are still financing the poverty in Uganda. They are still financing our suffering in Uganda. We are calling on the Foreign Secretary to condemn the human rights abuses in Uganda. We are calling on the Foreign Secretary to allow the human rights activist Bobby Wine to visit the UK. We are calling on the Foreign Secretary to allow the People's President Bobby Wine
Yes.
the Ugandan community in the UK. People power.
Our power.
Our power. People power. NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
We are almost winding up because we are going to the Home Office. Those are our two.
Tweyanziza mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala Banayuganda Ababera Bungereza omulimu guno gwe mukoze kamu gwe muganda mpola mpola nakikuba empola takitta bwamala nsonga mwebale wanti mwekalakaasiza no more funding mu 7 stop supporting the dictator bye bigambo ebiri wano abaana babyogera kaate misana gaaka awatali kukweka kintu na kimu nenga eggwanga lyaffe liri mu kubonaabona Uganda yaffe eri mu kubonaabona olw'abantu abatatwagala olw'abantu abeeyagaliza bokka ensi yaffe buli kimu kisaanyeewo Uganda yaffe buli kimu kitambudde kigenze kiweddewo ffe kuba n'abantu nga tebaagala nsi eno nga tebaagala Uganda kandi ffe twagala nnyo ensi yaffe tukitendeke n'abaana baagale nnyo ensi yaffe eno ye yaffe nti wano we waka waffe tulinayo walala era tulina okwagalawo ebbanga lyonna mbaagala nnyo tujja kuba tuddamu twogera ebigambo Mukama tunasaba bankuumire mweraba